Welcome to KRA's The Hub, the official podcast of KRA Corporation. And now get ready to hear workforce topics and trends you need to know on the go.
All right. Well, welcome back to KRA's The Hub podcast. We are excited for today's series of episodes. Myself and many of my KRA colleagues were at the recent Raising the Bar conference in Maryland. And just want to thank the Maryland Workforce Association for putting on this conference. It was a workforce conference that featured over 1,000 guests, 1,000 members, workforce development professionals, leaders, folks that work on the front lines. We also had the opportunity to meet many great vendors and organizations that are actually supporting the workforce development industry. I was joined by a series of episode recordings with my colleague, Derrick Colbert. Derrick, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Jonathan. It's good to be back with you.
You as well. And Derrick, we had the opportunity to talk with a lot of individuals. It ranged from folks that are working on the front lines, leaders of organizations, vendors that are providing services within workforce development. As we were a part of that, as you think back to the experience that we had there, what are some of the things that you think that our audience will be able to glean from these episodes?
Great question. As I reflect on the Raising the Bar Workforce Development Conference, and just the series of folks that we had the opportunity to interview, I really feel like the audience truly going to enjoy this podcast series right here, because we heard from everyone that's offering services for returning citizens, a very robust conversation around that. The young lady that's a former KRA employee that's now working for employee Prince George's County that's doing some excellent work within the youth development space. Our former colleague John Hattery that's doing some dynamic work for Workforce Montgomery as well, and others as well, such as Joseph Seymour, Mr. Walter Simmons, that really spoke about the collective impact that we need to have in workforce development. But for me, I'm gonna be a little bit biased. This for me, it was awesome to really hear from Mr. Norton Atterbury, the founder and CEO here of KRA Corporation, and just to hear his journey, just to hear his insight on the state of workforce development, not only in the state of Maryland, but also this workforce development from a national perspective as well. So I really feel like the listening audience truly going to have an opportunity to hear from some dynamic individuals that's our trailblazers within the workforce development space. But please, I don't want to leave out, and not start calling names. I'm going to miss folks, but I don't want to leave out the conversation around the wholeness and the wellness of women in the workforce development space here as well. So this for the listening audience, I truly want you guys to sit back and just enjoy the ride that we're going to take you on as it relates to this particular podcast right here, because not for the sake of repeating myself, but it was some very dynamic conversations and some very robust conversations that came from out of this podcast series right here. So we have something for everyone. If you are a woman in workforce development, we have something for you. If you are an inspiring CEO in workforce development, we have something for you. If you are a workforce development professional that just starting your journey in workforce development, we have something for you. If you are trying to figure out how KRA have been able to grow leaders within the workforce development space, we have something for you as well. So we have something for everyone as it relates to your journey here in workforce development. And you are a business owner that's looking to hire workforce development individuals or our job seekers, we have something for you as well. So here again, we have a very robust conversation in from all different angles as it relates to workforce development and community economic development here. So that would be my takeaway.
Well, I appreciate that, Derrick. And I believe as well that our audience is going to enjoy these episodes. And again, we want to highlight that this is a series. So if you're catching us part 2 or part 3 of this series, make sure you go back and listen to some of the other episodes. But with that being said, at this time, we will transition to our episodes that we recorded at Raising the Bar in Maryland.
All right, well, welcome back to KRA's The Hub podcast. We are here today at Maryland's Raising the Bar Workforce Conference. It's been an amazing time of workforce leaders, influencers, and there are a lot of great organizations that are here at this conference that are also showcasing software and support services to really advance the work that's done in workforce development. And so today we're joined by Zack Shifflett with Career.io. And so Zack, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm also joined by my co-host and colleague here, Derrick Colbert with KRA.
Thank you, Jonathan, for having me.
So Zack, let's just jump right in. Tell us a little bit about what you do and who is Career.io.
Yeah, absolutely. So Career.io, they are the parent company of Premier Virtual, which is a company that I used to work for. Those listeners out there who are familiar with Premier Virtual, we've attended quite a few workforce conferences in the past as Premier Virtual. We were recently acquired last year by CIO. So now, in addition to the virtual events that we offer, we also have a suite of products for job seekers specific to workforce development. We do a lot of work regarding the case managers, their ability to track job seekers as they're going through the process of interviewing, being hired, applying for different positions. So really what we're trying to bring to market at the Raising the Bar conference and in conferences across the country is our new parent company's brand and kind of put our imprint on workforce as Career.io, not just Premier Virtual.
That sounds like your company do some great work, Zack. As you may be aware, KRA is a national workforce development corporation. Can you elaborate on how your company, the footprint that you have as it relates to being a national provider?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So we have 7 states right now on a statewide contract. Those range all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. We've worked with close to 300 workforce development boards in helping them power virtual events. So our imprint, I can even go one step further. We are an international company. We have some clients overseas, but obviously our focus is in North America. So we've helped workforce boards from California down to Texas to Florida, all the way out in Hawaii. So a national footprint is something that we strive for, and that's the reason why we come to so many conferences like Raising the Bar, to make sure that we're keeping our name in the market.
Thank you for that. As your company has been serving job seekers for a long time here nationally, what has been the top 3 services that the job seekers have sought from your organization?
So as I mentioned already, the virtual events, but now what I'm seeing, the top requests are all AI-based. So we are really big into AI-powered technology. Specifically, we're seeing a lot of requests right now for smart cover letter building, smart resume building, and that's what CIO does, is we try to take the job seeker's resume, we match them up with their areas of interest, and we are then helping them down their career pathway. So I think the AI features specifically, like I mentioned, the cover letter builder, the resume builder, our interview prep tools, those are the strongest requests that we're receiving right now in the market.
Thank you.
Zack, so as you're working with local regions, how do you come in? Where do they get started when they come and seek services from your program here? Where do they get started, and what are some of the tangible ways that you can support them in implementing this service?
Yeah, absolutely. So they usually get started. Honestly, most of our outreach comes from the foot soldiers, those who are dealing with the job seekers on a day in and day out basis. They see a need for our services within their day-to-day work lives, whether it be on the back end for their case management so they can keep track and have accountability over which job seekers applied to which jobs. So that's really where we're helping people and where we're seeing the most interest. And when it comes to working with workforce, we want to make sure that we're not only empowering the job seekers with our tools, we want to make sure we're empowering the case managers, the executive directors, to try and make those workforce bodies as strong from the ground up as we can. So people get started usually on the ground level, but then it usually spreads throughout an organization once they see the value that we provide to a workforce client.
That's great. Now, are some of these services, are they self-directed for direct customers, or are they built to be staff assisted with the customers that are being
So they are both. They are both. That's another excellent question. So a lot of our front-facing products, when you talk about resume building, cover letter writing, obviously that's for your job seeker. But when you talk about our back-end admin dashboard, the ability to host those virtual events, those are going to be more for the staff to kind of have that management piece over the job seeker.
All right, well, I have a last question for you about AI. Obviously, you mentioned that AI is integrated into this platform. Where do you see things going with AI and the career development space, both for the customer, but also for those that are actually using the service to help become more efficient, to really empower them in the support that they're providing to the customer?
Well, I think a lot of people, the general climate around AI right now is one of both excitement and one of, I don't want to say fear, but people are a little bit weary of it. And a lot of the circumstances I run into at workforce conferences is it coming from my job? And how we want to position AI, and this is what we speak about at conferences, is use it as your assistant. If you are able to use AI as your assistant to help you in your role from day to day, that's what's going to make you more efficient and make you irreplaceable. So in our session today that we speak about AI, we're going to go in and talk about how it's applicable for case managers and workforce, but it's really applicable across all areas of business. And I wish I had a more concrete answer for you as far as the future. I think I'd be a billionaire if I could answer that question concretely, but I think the future is bright, and we are really at the tip of the iceberg when we talk about the potential of AI and supercomputers and how it can really assist, not replace the workforce.
That's great. And I recently heard a quote at a conference where they stated the very same thing. You may not be replaced by somebody or AI, but you may be replaced by somebody who uses AI more efficiently.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Zack, again, I want to thank you for joining us today on KRA's The Hub podcast. If somebody's out there and they're interested in maybe learning more about career.io and how to get started, what would be the best way for them to go about doing that?
That would be just going right to career.io. There is no .com on the end of that. It's just simply career.io. Please look us up. I am also available at zack.shifflett@talentinc.com. So whenever you want to get a hold of me, I'll also be at the Raising the Bar conference until this coming Thursday. So thank you both for having me. I do appreciate your time today, and all the best of the podcast.
We are here at day one of the Raising the Bar conference here in Maryland, and we have had a wonderful time. I've been joined by my co-host, Derrick Colbert, my colleague here with KRA. We've been talking to influential leaders within workforce development, and right now we're joined by Teni Akinwuntan of the Women of Valor. She's actually the founder of an organization here in Maryland, and so we look forward to today's conversation, and thank you for joining us, Teni.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And welcome, Derrick.
Thank you for having me.
So, Teni, give us a little bit of a background about you. Where do you come from, and how did you get to the point of founding this organization, Women of Valor?
Thank you so much for asking me. I would say I've been on the other side of the coin, marginalized population trying to make life work. So I typically understand what people go through, what women go through, especially women of color. I was seeking for an opportunity to find my way, find my path, but it was difficult. I had no answers. I had too many people wanting to create solutions, but they didn't have what I needed. So I realized that I better be the change the world is looking for. And I realized we had so many barriers across workforce, across the family dynamics, across systemic dynamics. And I realized that as much as I was interested, many organizations weren't looking intently at the barriers. It was so much more at the surface. And it was systemic. And I realized that we needed a solution. So we created an organization that was envisioned to eliminate the barriers women of color go through. I was very specific, not to say it was so much gender-based, because we serve across every gender at the moment, but I realized many of the people that look like me, speak like me, were having the barriers. So that's how it came about. So we started by reaching them, which is to support them wherever they have. The ages started, I believe at that time, from 18 to 65. So the work gets done where we rehabilitate them, and the rehabilitation comes through from psychoeducation. I do not believe people are just on this earth to work. I think we're here to create the life that people can model after. So our work created a lot of swift paradigm change, as I like to say it, because we now started to look intently at other parts of their wellness, which refers to occupational wellness, psychological wellness, intellectual wellness, social wellness, environmental wellness, because everything is not really about work. We need work, but we want to make sure that we do everything from a place that reaches to wellness. And so our work gets done typically at the rehabilitation stage. And through a 90-day transition period, we get them molded again. We tend to help them navigate their part, fulfilling their part, and helping to coordinate their entire cycle wellness. And that has been wonderful, where we've repackaged a lot of individuals reaching to thousands now. So we serve across Baltimore County, Prince George's County, Howard County as well, the Tri-County of Maryland, Montgomery County, and we're contracted with everyone at the moment.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. It appears that you, and it sounds like you do some awesome work at your organization. So
We
thank
try.
you for that. And when we think about women of color and some of the barriers that they face as well, and I heard you when you were speaking about the actual rehabilitation stage of them. Do you also help them to reconnect with their children as well?
We do. I like to say we do. At the moment, we have two major organizations serving the state of Maryland. The Women of Valor is a community-based organization. It is a 501c3. We then have the Seed Institute and partnerships. So as I mentioned, they're lifetime partnership. But the Women of Valor, being the community-based organization, helps to coordinate the family dynamics, which has helped us to serve many women, many families across Baltimore County and the 9 counties we serve. So intently, we help to get the work done from the family. If anything is going to change, technically, I say behaviors shape everything in life. We cannot get the work done without the family, without the children, without the future generation. So what our work does at the moment is encompassing every member of the family, from the mother to the father to the children and to the youth. We help to create a career pathway for them. We help to support them with rehabilitation with the workforce. But what we've done differently, because I think the world of work is swiftly changing, and you've got to have leaders see the things the way they have. We have a lot of things going on economically. So people are tired of working, as I like to say. But the best way to meet them, to bridge the gap, is through behaviors, because it shapes everything. So what we've done is to innovate the entire spectrum of behavioral training, talking about anxiety, talking about depressive disorder, OCD. You know, when people go to physical wellness, they tell them, we want to diagnose you of something. But then you tell them what they're dealing with, but no one educates them about how to manage them. So if they do not have a therapist, if they do not have a doctor, it seems as though life is filling out from them. So what we're helping them to achieve right now is to teach them what they're dealing with, to give them an opportunity to self-manage themselves. In peer educative training, I like to say that you don't help to do life for people, you help to do life with them, giving them an opportunity to live by themselves, doing life with you, participating in the life they've come to understand. So I believe that will change the ideal knowledge of workforce going forward. Then people can start to enjoy their work. Because I'll tell you from what data says, people no longer enjoy work. You have leaders that are not ready to lead, and somewhat you also have people that are not ready to work. So we've got to bridge the gap. And how do we do that? Integrating behavioral dynamics to ensuring they can have a wraparound feeling of what life should look like.
I like that. It's very impressive when I think about you taking an approach from a holistic perspective.
Absolutely.
You're dealing with the whole person versus just dealing with workforce needs. As you work to help them overcome the barriers and the challenges that they face, how does the end result look? Like once they are overcome and you have dealt with them from a holistic approach, are they connected to workforce activities after that, or what? Can you walk us through that?
Absolutely. So I think the best way to navigate is when people come to organization, they have a comprehensive look at life. They just don't come for work. They come for reenacting a different pathway to life. In between that, we have work. So we get to ask them initial questions about their life. What have you done the last 5 years? How did you get there? How did you navigate it? What jobs did you have? Was this imbued in your career path, or you just wanted to survive? Because a lot of people are surviving. So by understanding where they've been, it helps us to understand where to lead them onward. So they go through several formations of ideal knowledge about themselves. They get to work with a social worker, a psychologist. They get to work with wellness approach. Then we start to lead them, and we do have wonderful certified health workers. We start to lead them to understanding the right career path for them. I am of the firm belief that there are a lot of people out there that seem to be in jobs that do not belong to them. So they're having such a combative ride working that job. But when you have people get to know themselves, get to understand themselves, and get to understand their contribution as a value-oriented person into a workforce, they just co-create with you as a leader. It's easier. It makes life easier. So when we reach that point, it helps us to understand their functionality. And then we start to prep them, pre-plan them for the future they want to contribute in. I personally am a leader. I don't want to have workers that just want to earn their wages. I want to have co-creators because I know that I cannot do the job on my own. But when I understand their pathway, it's easier for me to learn about what they want to become 5 years from now, and I lead them to ensuring they have the right successful outcomes. All of our work, to respond to your question, leads to an outcome. It leads to a credential, leads to a certificate, and we're also CAF accredited. So what that means is we tailor our work towards community employment relationships. So we also get employers to come in a partnership with us to hire people from us directly, and then it doesn't stop there because we want to make sure that while in that job, you want to continue to have trainings, you want to continue to have more opportunities. So we stay and hang around with you for the continuous mentorship. So it's almost like I'm doing life with you, but this time around, not for you. I'm not trying to, give you the life I know that you do not know. I want you to try, but I want to come along the journey with you, if that answers your question.
It does. It does. Thank you for that very comprehensive answer. When I think about women of color and some of the barriers that they have faced throughout the years, and a lot of times there's some challenges that comes along with them barriers as well. Can you let the listening audience know exactly what are some of the challenges that you have faced, not only with working with your population that you service, but also as being a woman of color business owner as well?
It's a lot. You want me to get into this?
Please do.
So, people need to pay some respect to women of color because we get the job done. There were times in my life as a leader that I wasn't invited to many rooms because I was thought, or I was spoken of as a woman of color that most likely wouldn't come to contribute to whatever was going on within our economy. And I wasn't like that. I'm built differently. I'm hardwired, maybe a little bit outside emotions, but logically. So to a large extent, I knew what I wanted to do. I'm very purposeful. I'm a pathfinder. So I understand it would take someone that had leadership qualities to get it done. So I would say openly, if it's fine to say, that I didn't get a table to build from. I had to create my table because the color of my skin was saying so much more. My accent was giving way into it. I wasn't invited into many opportunities. So what I realized is that there's not going to be many Teni out there. So you'll find out that women of color give up into the pressure very quickly because they're just tired. They feel intimidated. They feel not part of the solution. But I like to say that there's a change now, and we've got to give opportunity to people that really want to effect the change. We've seen a spiral change amongst many leaders in recent times. We want to talk about the economic stance at the moment. I wouldn't go into it because this is not about politics, but we can actually get the job done, given the opportunity that we will see them as a part of the community. Once people find a belonging in the community, they can effect a positive change. So I had to create my table, and I'm glad that it's not just about me any longer. It's about many lives that can now get their parts together, which reaches to thousands of families. So when I think about the historical things we've done across Maryland, I'm beyond shocked because it just takes a woman to make a change.
Thank you for that.
My final question to you is,
Sure.
I'm quite sure my co-hosts have some additional questions for you as well, but my final question to you is, you've been around for 10 years, correct? What does the next 10 years look like for your organization?
That's a wonderful question. It's going to be some shaking in the workforce. I'm ready for what it stands to achieve. We have something different in the world of work today, and we're coming in from a very holistic standpoint. We're coming in from a very realistic standpoint. I think what the workforce needs at the moment is fruit. And if we're going to get the work done, we need to understand that it's not so much about what has been, but what can be. Speaking about policy change, speaking about understanding what our people need, speaking about the eligible training providers truly, if they are eligible to do the work, speaking about getting the monies into the hands of the ones who can get the work done, and speaking about leaders that are not just about themselves, but about the people. Because I think honesty should be the best currency of leaders at this point. And so if we're going to effect the change, we want to understand that it's no longer about us, but the people we want to serve and see their life be better. Because this is like a generational cycle. So if you're not changing the community, you're going to have people that have no idea of what they want to become. And it's getting so bad that things are really, really should I say, having a decreasing order. I'm in the community, I serve the community, I'm well invested in the community. So I'm looking forward to our organization eliminating the barriers that are still here, focusing on what needs to be focused to, changing lives, prospering lives, and helping people rehabilitate their families as well. Because once you teach one can teach 10, and it can continue to, prosper into many communities in Maryland. So, like they always say, Baltimore is strong, and I'm one of the strongest one to that.
Teni, I really appreciate you emphasizing that, because a lot of times we talk in workforce development about success and what does impact look like and what is impacting our community. Mm-hmm. And obviously people getting jobs is a part of that, but the focus that your organization places on the individual, but also the household, is also a very important part of it. So thank you for emphasizing that. I had a chance to look through your website and saw some of the numbers of families, individuals that you guys have impacted over the last several years. My last question for you is around what drives you. And as we're having conversations with leaders and influential individuals within workforce development, it's always great to hear what drives you. What are some of the guiding principles that have really been a lesson that you've learned in life, but that continues to be a part of the work that you do, and that could also be a point of inspiration for those that are listening out there that may also be passionate about serving a particular group within the community. But what drives you, and what was that inspiration point in your career?
That's a big question. I will start by saying light. Honesty is for me one of my greatest currency, and I think the world lacks it. So for me, I just want to make a change, and not just waiting for the government, waiting for the county, waiting for board commissions to actually effect the change. If I can do it, they can join me. So I don't want to wait for anyone to make a change. If I can put food on a family's table so that they can actually go to bed not hungry, I'll do it. And when you see me doing it, if you think you want to work with me to do it, fine. But I'm not going to wait for you to effect the change. If I'm going to be the light, and I'm going to be the light for the family. So at this point in my life, I just want to make people prosper and have a better life. By so doing, I'm eliminating their barriers.
That's great. Well, thank you, Teni, for your time today. It's been a great, inspiring conversation to hear about your journey, the work that you're doing in your organization. And for those that are listening to this podcast, what's the best way for them to learn more about your work and the organization and ways to get involved?
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I think they can check our website, www.thewov.org. I'll say that one more time because I'm told I speak so fast. www.thewov.org and theseedllc.com. So it's THEESEEL. I'll take that back. THEES seedllc.com. Both of the websites are active, and they can reach out to us from there. We'll be more than happy to serve them.
That's great. Well, thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you. We look forward to our paths crossing again in the future. And thank you for all the work that you're doing here in the state of Maryland and this region that's really seen an impact amongst women and their families.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are wonderful.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you, Derrick. We are here at Maryland's Raising the Bar Conference. There are a lot of really great sessions, great influential leaders within workforce development, great organizations that are offering services in the community, supporting workforce boards and organizations within the workforce development industry. And so today we are joined with Aaron Lesson of TAD Grants. Aaron, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to sit in here with you and have this conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Likewise. And I'm also joined by my co-host here today and colleague from KRA, Mr. Derrick Colbert.
Thank you.
Aaron, let's jump right into what you do and who is TAD Grants?
All right, awesome. So let me start with the broader question, TAD Grants. TAD Grants is primarily a professional development training company that focuses on those in workforce and career development that really need, I would say, the training and education to kind of pull off what we're doing, whether it be on the front line with the job seeker, or let's say a role would be with business services, all the way going to leadership, to executive boards, in which we provide everything from customer service to leadership training to board retreats. Our main emphasis when we came together around 2015, 2016 was that we have a profession in workforce development with a variety of people in backgrounds. I'm an educator. We've met manufacturing, hospitality. And one of the things I ask people, even like here at Raising the Bar, so what's your background and how do you know how to help another person in career development? Like, and I don't say that like accusatory, but what specifically have you been trained in? Like, they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, your car breaks down. You don't bring it to me because I own a garage and a tool set. Okay? You look for someone who's skilled, who has the certain training and credentials to fix that vehicle. And that just makes sense. And we all shake our head and we're like, yeah, 100%. And I said, well, we're dealing with something more important than cars here. We're dealing with people's barriers and aspirations and hopes and their livelihoods, which, again, I'm going to say, I think is way up there on the priority list of what we do and whom we are. So what is going to set us apart or provide us the foundation to be effective in our services? And I'm not saying we're not, but a lot of it is trial and error. You're just trying to figure it out and figure out the programming and what can you spend money on and can't and don't have a disallowed cost, and let alone the intricacies of being with someone or working with a company or being a leader. So we really just took that on full go when we started, and I just feel it's a blessing that we've been able to meet so many good people and so many organizations that are like-minded, and it really is like a family to us. And even though I miss my own family when I travel and do these conferences, I really mean this. I feel like I've made such a good network that they're kind of my family too, and it's exciting to see people.
It's great.
That's great. Just to piggyback on that, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe that KRA and TAD Grants has some kind of working relationship back in the past. Can you kind of enlighten the listening audience on exactly how was that partnership and what was the success that came from out of that partnership as well?
Well, you know, it was a while ago, and I'm like sitting here thinking, it was probably in the late teens, so I think 18 or 19, in which we were working with you and trying to, it was on the grant side of the house primarily, in which we were, and you guys you guys, such a Michigander term, y'all, know that grants are like the sustainable thing that we need in this business, right? It's what makes our world spin. So when we were doing that, we really focused on how to go after what was needed in the grant world. And, you know, from TAD grant side of things, we not only have been in a situation where we've written grants for customers, but we've also taught a process in which to write grants, which I believe we did both with KRA. And I think overall, when I look at TAD grants and the amount of money that we've been able to help organizations get, if we're looking at a pure financial standpoint, it's well into the millions. And I didn't want to over-exaggerate, but there was one organization we helped get a Job Corps contract well worth $100 million. So I think anytime we partner, especially with an organization like KRA who has deep, rich roots in this industry, successful opportunities come out of it, and it allows us to, I always look at it like, who knows exactly the domino effect that happens? Sometimes we don't get to see it, right? We help write a grant, we help review a grant, and yeah, we always want to we don't want to be too nosy to stick around and say, well, what came of it? But we do believe in really, honestly, almost 100% of our opportunities in which we partner, that good things flow out of it. And I know that's kind of a political response as far as in generalities. I get that. But that also is going to go to the statement that we don't closely monitor how then the funds are used and put to use to serve those that we do.
Thank you for that. My next question is going to be more on the side of the things that you love doing at your organization, training. So when you think about the frontline workers as it relates to workforce development, what has been your success around really helping organizations and providers to really get the frontline staff skilled up so they can be the best career service person, business service rep, or a job placement rep as well? So can you kind of speak to us about that?
Yeah, you know, that's where I feel even within me, there's this excitement. Because, so in 2001, I was coming out of education. Like many people have that career transition, I didn't really know what I was going to do. And so when I went into the Michigan Works, I'm from Battle Creek, Michigan. I went into Michigan Works in actually Coldwater, Michigan to file my unemployment claim. I didn't know anything about it, Michigan Works, right? And so got in there, they looked at what I had been doing, and they're like, we have a job working with youth. Of course, I'm like, well, I need a job. That sounds good. I know youth. Well, I started there. The company was good, but what I realized very quickly is I can work with a youth, but I don't know the finer details of helping someone write a resume or make a career choice or a college choice or a trade school. I didn't know any of that. So it was really difficult. I knew I had to meet performance measures, but at the end of the day, it just really dawned on me that there has to be a better way to lay the foundation for those in our industry to know how to help another person. Not just in customer service, not just in building a working relationship, but ultimately, how do we get people trained? Long story short, I was forced into this class, and I'm like, I have a master's degree, I don't need this training. You know, a little arrogance. I was a bit younger, so unfortunately, I didn't know as much as I do now. But at that point, I went through it, kind of kicking and screaming, but at the end of it, I knew it was right. And I knew I wanted to tell other people about it, because after I went through it, it solidified within me that I was in a profession and that I loved to help people. And now I kind of got a bigger picture of how. And it just clicked in me. The training in me clicked, and around 2007, I'm like, I want to do this. I want to train people in career development, workforce development. And I made it my mission. It's what feeds me. Because when I see people, I have to really, we work all over the United States. And I say that humbly, but I ask the question to everybody, what qualifies you to do what you're doing? I mean, you got a good heart. You're dedicated. I'm not questioning you as a person, but what sets you apart? Let's say you worked at Bed Bath & Beyond last week. You quit. You got a job at American Job Center. They get you started. What qualifies you now to be a workforce or a career professional? And they look at me and they smile, and I'm like, listen, I asked you that question because I had to face that reality as well. And I can tell you there's a better way. There are training programs, there are credentialing, internationally recognized credentials for what we do in this line of work, and there's just a better way. And so I think, when we're training that frontline staff and I see it, I know and I believe in my heart, because we've developed a good training program. We use a great student manual from the National Career Development Association, and we deliver it with gusto. I know that's a good combination because, quite frankly, we're partnering with the Maryland Workforce Association to offer 2 of our training programs, one in October and one in December. We have an exclusive agreement with the Michigan Works Association to do the same. We've trained entire states. And I'm not saying that in any way but in a humble, thankful heart that says, you know what? People still have us come back because they see the value in a trained staff member, business services rep. We have board members who are like, well, they're not even sure what it is when they start. There's just a better way. And when that clicks, it brings me a great deal of satisfaction to be able to say, we're trying to create an industry here where we have standards that you can't just come in and, well, you can. We believe that there's a better way than just coming in and trying to stumble and figure your way out. Let's take an approach where there's practical hands-on training. And I'll say this on this podcast, I don't even care if it's Tad Grants. Find someone to earn your training and credentials, because when we commit to that as an industry, that's when we'll have a better industry that people then can choose that they want to be a part of, that we can train our own high school and youth, for example. Let's just say the youth part. We can actually get them on a career pathway into what we're doing instead of having it kind of being a default. Like, what were you doing? Oh, I was doing this, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I just did this and fell into it. No, what we do is good. It changes lives. It makes a difference in not only an individual's life, but their family's life, and I believe this with all my heart, the community in which they live. It changes it. And we are a huge part of that, unknown by many, but if we can keep advocating together, we can change that narrative. We can do it on Capitol Hill, we can do it at our state levels, and I've been there. I've had the opportunity to be in senators and Congress, men and women's offices to advocate this very thing, to say, hey, can you support us in saying, let's set standards for our industry, and let's make it more of a profession, not just something that people come in for a little bit and then go out. Let's make it an end stop, because it's an awesome industry.
That's great. Aaron, I'm going to ask you a big question here. When we talk in workforce development about in-demand skills, when you look at the work that you do as a director of training and development, you're listening to needs. You're seeing what's being trained on. You're seeing the needs that are in the industry. What would you say are maybe the top 1 to 2 skills that are in demand for a business services professional?
Business services.
Business services or career services?
Or career services. So for that professional, what do they need? Is that?
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
What would be the top 1 to 2 skills that they need to be successful?
You know, it's a really good question. I think part of when I look at the skill set that is needed is to first and foremost, either side of the house, business services or job seeker, is to have an idea of whom we are as an industry. Like, and I know that I don't want to make this generic, and I'm not trying to, but they need to know how they fit into the overall picture of things. Because what happens generally is we'll hire someone, we're like, this is your job, and like laser focused, right? But in reality, we need to bring him in and say, okay, this is how what you do fits into the big picture, first and foremost. And that there is a process. TAD Grants teaches processes. So for business services, we teach a 4-step process. We don't believe that people should just create their own, like us four at this table. If we were providing business services in a county, we shouldn't all be just doing our own thing. You're good at talking, so you're out there knocking on doors. You're good at emails. You're doing your thing. We'd each have, no, there's a process. And the more that each of us can get on board with following, like, not scripted, but steps, the better that we can serve that community. And it's the same with the job seeker side. I believe an in-demand skill is truly going to be the ability to have a framework that they're working out of, not one in which I'm just like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you mean? What do I want? No, we have a process that we're using here. It goes like this. Step 1, we're going to engage with businesses. Engage. Step 1, engage. Step 2, we're going to discover your needs. Step 3, we're going to develop a solution pattern for you. And step 4, we're going to follow up. Basic. You guys got the whole business services consultant. Now there's learning it and how to really enact it. But if we all have that same plate, if we're all reading from the same hymnal, so to speak, songbook, then there's a much better chance that the businesses and the job seekers within our community are getting consistent, high-quality services because we now have a platform in which we're working from. And again, I'm not here just to say TAD Grants has it all figured out. There are other good systems, and organizations like KRA have their own systems. But the more that we can get people on the same page to know them right up front, the better place we can have a better come from place from the very beginning.
That's great. Well, Aaron, I want to thank you for your insights today. It's always great, again, to hear from folks like you that are doing the work, that you have a national footprint as well, where you've seen a lot with the boards that you work with, the states, local economies. And so I want to thank you for joining us on today's episode of The Hub, the podcast, and have a great rest of the conference here. Now, if folks want to get in touch with you or learn more about what you do at TAD Grants, what would be the best way for them to move forward with that next step?
I think the best step would just go to our website. It's tadgrants.com, TADGRANTS.com. There's a reach out button right there. Pops up. It's a little annoying, like some of them, but we want to get to know people, and honestly, we truly believe that reach out, we will follow through because we believe in long-term relationships. We don't want one-offs. We want to build, like I said at the beginning, we feel like this is our family, and our job is to do everything we can to make a difference for those that we care about in our network.
That's great. Well, thank you again, Aaron. Thank you, Derrick, for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to KRA's The Hub. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. To learn more about KRA Corporation, visit www.kra.com. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll be back soon with a new episode.